Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be filming my reading wrap up for June. Now, as with some of the other things for this month, I haven't really been keeping up to date with my reading journal. So I've got quite a few things that I actually need to do in the front of my book, as well as my actual wrap up. So I'm planning to, maybe I'm going to be using these 3 stamps from Everyday Explorers. This is the Bookish Prompts, the Reading Journal stamp set, and then the All the New Books stamp set. There's at least 1 stamp on each one that I think I might want to use today while I'm doing my wrap up. I pulled out my 3 Tombow markers for my overall journal theme this year, the 992, N79, and N89. I just have my regular pen, and then I have a bunch of stuff printed on clear sticker paper. This was the remains of my journal setup for June, and then this is all of my end of month like synopsises, book covers, and my totals. So let us jump right in. I'm going to start, I think, at the beginning and just fill in some of the things that I am missing here. I think that I got all but 1 of these books filled in. And as I'm thinking about it, okay. I read 5 books, so The Lawyer, Ambrosia, Love It for Psych, and Camp Zero. So I think I am missing The Bachelor, which was a split, which is actually going to be my first one on here, and that is in 49. So that'll be my very first one of those on here. So as I've been filling in and coloring in my books, I've been kind of coloring different colors for the different portions of the spines and just kind of alternating back and forth between the color for how I actually read the book and then just another color to give the book a little bit of kind of character. Alright, so that was the only thing I needed to add to this page. I had the rest of my books on here already. I have not updated this in a minute, I don't think. So let me just check my Goodreads and see where I'm actually at. So I should be at 31 on this page, and I've been filling this in with the N79. I read 5 books. Forgot to print out my book cover for June for my book of the month. Alright, so I still need to print out the book cover for June, which was Camp Zero for my book of the month pick. I gave that book 2 stars, which I'll probably get into a little bit later on. I I don't think I read any of my physical or digital TBR, but I did read a book that begins with A. So let us jump into June. So for my favorite book photo and my totals this month, I just kind of printed everything out with my recap pages. Since I was going to be printing those out on sticker paper again, I didn't want to waste any of the sticker paper. And I didn't really have much else that I wanted to print out, so I just printed out the cover for that and my totals on the remaining sticker paper. I didn't read anything that I had put on my TBR. I honestly only put one book on here. So that one, I believe I moved over to July. My favorite book ended up being The Bachelor by Marni, Mann. And I read 5 books. The page count that I could count was 1,346, and then 4 hours because one of these was solely a audiobook, and I could only find a time frame and not an actual like page count for it. And then I read 2 audiobooks, 2 digital books, and 1 split book. So The Bachelor I got on Audible, and it also has a Kindle Unlimited version. So I basically flipped back and forth between reading the Kindle version and then also listening to the audiobook. So that's where I ended with my favorite and my totals. And then we will get into this part. I originally was going to use my ruler, same as I did for my initial setup, but I can't find the ruler that actually fits on this book, and that little wooden one that I just used is not long enough for like the long edges. So I'm just gonna hand draw them, and they'll just be a little bit wonky, which doesn't bother me at all. I almost prefer my wonky lines sometimes. So the first thing that I'm going to do is kind of get these laid out. I kind of want them to be in the same order that I read them in. And then this month, instead of having the text go all the way across, I figured I would only take up about half, and then I can do any of my writing if I have anything to say on these corners of it. And I have enough space underneath my books this time that I can actually stamp out that stamp. This one, this book rating stamp. So I'm going to be using my Color Theory Inky Black. And I am going to use that to stamp this book rating stamp underneath each book cover. And I'm kind of excited because I think this might be the first time I've ever actually used this stamp in the way that it's meant to be used. Maybe. I am not sure. But normally when I use it, I have to block part of it off because I want them to be side by side instead of the book writing on top of the star. So I'm excited to be able to use it the way it's actually supposed to be used for once. I also want to use this audiobook stamp. And maybe I'll use the My Review stamp and put on over here as well. Yeah, I think I might do that. I'm only going to use the audiobook stamp on the books that I listened to only via audiobook. So I'm probably not going to put that on The Bachelor, even though I did listen to it partially on the audiobook. I think for this My Review stamp, I'm going to pull out my Ali Edwards metallic gold ink to do that because I think that'll match pretty well with my leftover setup pieces. So let's see how that works. I think in the past, every time I've used this ink, it doesn't really look super metallic-y, but always ends up looking kind of more like a muted gold. And in this instance, I think that might be what I want. I'm sure on that side I'm probably having issues because of the waterfall tabs that I did for my July setup. Or maybe I'm just not getting enough ink for whatever reason. Okay, that one came out good. I am not going to try and restamp over these other ones just because I have a feeling that I will hate it. So I'm just gonna leave it as is. So I mentioned in one of my videos, I'm not sure which one it was. It might have been my like mid-year project flip through that I wanted to use this at the end of the month because I thought it would be funny. And I still think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Part of me kind of wishes that I had changed the color of this in Photoshop. To be the same gold color, but I like it, so it'll be fun. Okay, now I'm just gonna erase a little bit of these edges here just because I don't want my little border pieces be taped over them. All right, so the books that I read this month. I read The Lawyer by Marni Mann. I am not sure how I heard about this book. I do not remember, but I liked it. It was about, let's see, a girl that meets some guy on the rooftop, and they end up, doing it. And then he ends up being her sister's lawyer, obviously, because the title is The Lawyer. So he ends up being her sister's lawyer, and then they meet again because of that, because she is her sister's assistant. And he thinks that she might be perfect for a role that he has open, or his agent friend has open. And then it kind of escalates from there. So that one was all right. I think I would give that one 3 stars. It was good. I liked it. I didn't have any major issues with it. But it also didn't really stand out to me. I completely forgot what it was about until I reread the synopsis. So I gave that one 3 stars. This second one, Love at First Psych, was purely an audiobook. From Audible, if you have an Audible membership, I believe it's a free download. You can listen to it free with the membership. That one also okay. It wasn't bad. It was an interesting listening experience because it has I guess a whole cast is what the whole thing said. So it was an interesting listening experience. I got into it probably about 3/4 of the way through, which is kind of a late time to get into a book, in my opinion. But it was all right. I think I'd give that one 3 stars as well. And then the next book, this was my book of the month pick, Camp Zero. It sounded so interesting on the synopsis, and I'm not going to read the synopsis because the synopses are long, but it sounded like it would be so interesting, but it was so confusing. The timeline of it, I just had a really difficult time understanding how any of these things were supposed to be linking up, and the timeline itself was super confusing to me. And honestly, I was like, am I just not understanding? Do I just not get it? But I went on Goodreads when I was about 3/4 of the way through the book, and I went into Goodreads and read some of the reviews that other people had left on there, some of the lower starred reviews, to see if I was the only person that was just completely confused by how this book was written, and I was not. So that made me feel a little bit better. If you have read this book, Camp Zero by Michelle Min Sterling, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. I think it had a really good idea behind it, but I don't think it played out as well as it could have. I don't know. The next book I read was Ambrosia, and this was the second book to Frost. Yes. So this was book 2. I gave Frost 3 stars. Ambrosia and The Bachelor were the two that I was deciding between when it came to my favorite book this month. When I went back and I reread the synopsises, though, I just loved the story of The Bachelor. I also really liked this one. I think this one's going to end up either getting 3.5 stars, maybe 4 stars. This one will be getting 4 stars from me, The Bachelor. So I really liked it, but I went back and read some of the reviews, and I agreed that, I don't know. I don't know if you guys want to know the actual reviews that were posted on like Goodreads or anything, but so I'm going to kind of not go into all that. But for the most part, it was decent. I liked it. I liked the storyline. I liked the concept. But it didn't, I don't know. It just didn't call out to me, I guess, as much as The Bachelor did. And this one is the sequel. Actually, I'm reading these completely out of order. This is the first book in this series. This is, I think, the 5th book in this series, and I have not read any of the other ones. So it's a series, but obviously it's like one of those, like, every novel's a standalone novel series. So this one is, it's like a my best friend's brother trope. So the main character propositions her best friend's brother to take her virginity. So it goes into all of that, and it's just, I just thought it was really, really well done. I liked it. It was very spicy. So let's see. I don't know if I'm actually going to write my synopsises on here, but I will fill in my stars. For Ambrosia, I'm just going to stop at 3.5. Just because I can always add another half a star, but I can't really take one away if I decide that I don't like it later on. Sometimes I do come back and think about a book a little bit more and change my ratings. Especially if the book has stuck with me over time. That's honestly one of the like requirements for me to give a book 5 stars is like that I'm obsessing over it. Like I can't stop thinking about it. So if I continue to think about a book after I've read it and I had given it a lower rating, I will usually come back and add maybe a star, another star, maybe 2 stars, just depending on the actual book and how much I liked it originally. So Camp Zero, I don't think I actually said how many stars I gave this book. And I gave it 2 stars. Because I didn't really like it. I only give books 1 star if I DNF them, if I do not finish them. So normally if I'm giving a book 2 stars, it's because it was really difficult for me to either understand like what the heck was going on throughout the entire book, or like I had to force myself to finish it. If this was not an audiobook, I would not have finished it. I would have put it down and forgotten about it. So that is the only reason that I finished it. And since I did finish it and just couldn't wrap my head around it, I gave it 2 stars. All right. So I will probably add my actual reviews off camera and just like take a photo of them when I'm done. I kind of talked through my thoughts on each of the books very briefly. I don't usually give my opinions about books too often, so it's still a little bit new to me. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and if you've read any of these books, also let me know what you thought about them in the comments below. I will list each book and the author that I read this month down in the description if you are interested in checking them out. And yeah, let me know what you think, and that is all I've got for today. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!